Hello, and thank you for joining me. Today we're returning to Fallout 76, where we're going to do some legendary crafting. Today we're going to craft up 10 legendary pepper shakers in honor of the Meat Week event that didn't work right and got discontinued or replaced, or however you want to look at that. I'm sort of suspecting Meat Week will be coming back at some point this year, but I'm not really certain, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and craft up some legendary versions of the pepper shaker, so let's see what we get today. I probably won't spend as much time talking about the effects on each one as I do on my legendary script videos, but we'll take a moment to talk about each one, so let's see what we get here. So for the first one, we got a Juggernaut with plus 50% limb damage and faster movement speed while aiming. So the Juggernaut's effect is not one of my favorites, just because it is so hard to keep yourself at full health, although I was advised that you can get some decent damage with that by using the adrenal reaction. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but apparently you can, it may work with your rads or something there. I need to look into that further, but apparently it's better than I thought it was, but still, I think I would just prefer to have Bloodied if I'm going to be running at low health or anything, so not particularly exciting there. The plus 50% limb damage, that is kind of at a loss on anything that functions at all as a shotgun, because if you really want to cripple something, you're using something that's a shotgun, and the pepper shaker functions as both a heavy gun and a shotgun, then just equip the, oh, I forget the name of the perk. Let's find it real quick here. It is the Enforcer perk. Yeah, just equip the Enforcer perk, and you should have no problem crippling things. So, and then the faster movement speed while aiming. If you're using the speed demon mutation, which I am, it's not really doing a whole lot for you. So let's go on ahead and see what we get for the second one. And we got another Juggernauts. Okay. If we get 5 that aren't particularly exciting, we might go on ahead and hop worlds to see if we can get something better. But here we've got, like I say, the Juggernauts with replenishing action points with each kill and breaks 50% slower. So the replenishing action points with each kill could be interesting. I haven't really tested this weapon out very much, so I don't know how effective it is in VATS. I assume it's going to eat through your AP pretty quickly, but I could be mistaken on that point. It's possible that the replenishing action points with each kill may actually be enough to keep you using it in VATS, and if that's the case, that would actually be very cool. I'd still prefer to see a better first star on it, but even so, that could be interesting. And then the breaks 50% slower. That's never an amazing thing, but it's also never a bad thing, just because I don't think anybody really likes repairing their gear, so that one wasn't amazing, but let's see what we get here for this one. Okay, this one I would say is pretty much just bad. We've got a Furious effect, with the last round of the magazine having 25% chance to deal double damage and 15% faster reload. I'm not entirely certain how the Furious effect works with shotguns. I believe each pellet counts as a hit, so Furious may be a little bit better with the shotguns than it is with some other weapons, but because of the spread, it also makes it easier to hit a target other than your primary target and thereby reset the Furious effect. So, you know, not particularly exciting there. The last round of the magazine, I am not a fan of that effect at all. I basically feel like it does nothing at all. I feel like it shouldn't be really in the pool, but there it is. And the 15% faster reload. I used to think it's much better than it was, but then it was brought to my attention that if you are using the speed demon mutation, it's giving you some benefit, but not all that much. So, and I think most players are going to be using the speed demon mutation. I know I certainly am on all of my characters. So, overall, yeah, that's a little bit of a dud there again. So, let's try 2 more on this world, and if we don't get anything good, then we'll hop worlds. Okay, this one is interesting. We got a Bloodied with faster fire rate and 250 damage resistance while reloading. So the Bloodied effect is my favorite first star in most cases, so it does consistently does basically the best damage in the game. There may be tricks and little ways that you can do comparable damage with other legendary effects, but overall, Bloodied really is the damage king there. 25% faster fire rate is great for increasing your damage per second, so you'll be able to fire this thing much faster, so that's great. And then the plus 250 damage resistance while reloading is definitely the worst 3rd star on this weapon. It's not that it's necessarily bad, but if you've got armor and or damage resistance in the neighborhood of 300 to 400 already, then it's not going to do a whole lot for you because of the diminishing returns. It'll do something, but it's also worth noting that it is not protecting you, giving you energy resistance, so it's not protecting you against any sort of energy damage either. So, but overall, the first 2 stars are very good on this weapon, so I'm very pleased with that, and we may see this one out on a Weapon Spotlight video in the near future. So let's see what else we can get. Okay, well, here we've got an Assassin's with bashing damage increased by 50% and breaks 50% slower. So the Assassin's effect for PvE, you know, player versus environment players, is kind of worthless because most of the human enemies in this game are already pretty squishy, so you don't really need a major damage boost to take them down. And it's probably not worth carrying a weapon, especially a heavy weapon, around for something like that, although this weapon doesn't appear to actually be that heavy, surprisingly. Probably once you mod it out, I guess. But anyway, if on the other hand you are a PvP player, then the Assassin's effect is much better because you probably don't want to go bloodied if you are a PvP player, because that'll allow other players to kill you much more easily, and so you're gonna want that maximum damage bonus that you can get consistently against other players, so the Assassin's effect could be very good in that situation. Full disclosure, I am not a PvP expert by any means, so that's just my understanding on things. If there's any PvP experts who would like to weigh in and correct me or confirm what I'm saying or whatever the case, I would be happy to hear from you. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Assassin's effect. The bashing damage increased by 50%. This is not a minigun, and that's really about the only time that it's worthwhile is if you put a shredder mod on a minigun, so it's basically a worthless 2nd star here. And then the breaks 50% slower is not terrible, but definitely not amazing, so we talked about that earlier. So let's see here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We did get a good one, but you know what, let's go on ahead and hop worlds anyway. So we'll be back in just a minute here and continue on with the other 5. Okay, here we are back on a public world. I was on my private world before, so let's go on ahead and craft up make legendary these last 5 pepper shakers and see if we get anything good. So for the first one, we're gonna get a Nocturnal with plus 50% limb damage and 90% reduced weight. So yeah, definitely not an ideal one there. The Nocturnal effect is not as bad as it used to be because it does not provide inflict, I guess would be a better word, any debuffs during the day. It just behaves like a non-legendary version of the weapon during the day, so that's better. And if you're the type of player who would actually remember to switch your weapons based on in-game day and night, then it could actually be fairly strong because the bonuses from it are pretty decent. I'm not that sort of player, so it's not doing a whole lot for me. The plus 50% limb damage we talked about. This is a shotgun, so just run Enforcer if you want to cripple things. But the 90% reduced weight is nice. At least it won't be taking up a lot of space in my inventory until I can feed it to the script machine. So let's see about the next one here. And here we've got another Furious one with the last round again. Is this the exact same effects we got on the last Furious? It is. It is exactly the same Furious effect. They're in different order for some reason here, but yeah, that's unlikely. But I won't waste any time talking about that one since we already got it and talked about it. And here we've got a Hunter's with plus 50% limb damage and plus 1 agility. So the Hunter's effect is probably one of possibly the worst of the, well, not the worst, it's probably second worst of the Slayer's effects in my opinion, because there's just not really a reason to keep a weapon around specifically for hunting animals in my opinion. They're not typically tough enough that you really need something specifically for them. If you've got something half decent already, then you'll probably be fine. And you're not generally going to be hunting them specifically anyway. It does have the benefit that it does work against the Scorch Beasts and the Scorch Beast Queen because they count as animals, so it's got that going for it, but really it doesn't have a whole lot else. The plus 50% limb damage, once again, this is a shotgun, so if you want to cripple things, run the Enforcer perk. And the plus 1 agility, it's not terrible. An extra point in one of your specials is never really a bad thing, but at the same time, a single point's not doing a whole lot for you. Agility is going to give you a little bit more stealth, which is probably not going to do a whole lot for you with the Pepper Shaker because it's a loud and proud weapon. And it'll also give you a little bit more AP, which could be a good thing if you're either trying to use this thing in VATS or just like sprinting around like I think most players do. But that little bit of AP isn't going to go very far, so overall this one's not very good. So we've got 2 more here. Let's see if we can get another good one. Well, this one is not it. We've got another Furious with the last shot, only this one breaks 50% slower, so we've had all of those effects. I'm not going to spend a lot of time rehashing those. So come on, give us something good here for the last one. And here we've got a Mutant Slayers with bashing damage increased by 50% and plus 1 agility. So the Mutant Slayers effect is probably one of the more useful of the Slayers effects for at least PvE players, because there will definitely be times that you're going to be wanting to hunt super mutants. Well, typically anyway. You know, most players find hunting mutants at West Tech and such to be a very useful way to grind up experience, so that's very useful. The bashing damage increased by 50% is not useful because this is not a minigun and doesn't have a shredder mod. And then the plus 1 agility is not bad, but not amazing. You know, just like we talked about before, it'll give you a little bit more stealth, which isn't going to help much with the Pepper Shaker typically. But it will also give you a little bit more AP, although it's really questionable how far that will go. So overall, we didn't get anything like truly godlike, but we did get a very good one here. I'm definitely not going to do anything to it, but the first and second star are very good. It'd be nice if the third star was a little bit better, but overall, I'm very pleased with this particular roll. The others were pretty unexciting, but that's the way it goes. If you get 1 out of 10 rolls that are good, then you're doing pretty well in my opinion. So anyway, please remember, if you've enjoyed my content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and it doesn't cost any money. And until next time, thank you for watching.